What is up, you guys? What is up? So today we're going to be talking about my fill in the needs mock draft. It's not the best players available. It's not, the most flashiest draft, but it's the one that I think that would fill in most needs that the Rams need and reasons why I picked them at those positions. And, we want this team to get back to where they were in 2018. So I just feel like this is the best way to do that without sacrificing a good solid player in a position of need for like a player that we might not need, but it's nice to have. So this is my reasoning for some of these players. So I'm going to pick Jonah Jackson, interior offensive lineman. He's played left guard at the Ohio State University. So we know that the guy's solid. He had J.K. Dobbins as his running back, and he was actually one of the best pass-protecting left guards in college football. I think he was the rated third best pass protector at the guard position from Pro Football Focus, but he also has pretty decent power. Not the strongest guy. He doesn't necessarily depend on power alone. He also has pretty good footwork, technique. Not the fastest guy. Obviously, offensive linemen aren't that quick, but he's solid. And that's one of the things I see from this guy is he's a slightly smaller Roger Saffold. And that's how I see Jonah Jackson. I think he would be available at that spot at 52. And I would say get a position in need, get one of the best players at that position, and just move forward. And that's basically why I have Jonah Jackson from Ohio State as our second-round pick. Our another second-round pick after trading Brandon Cooks. You have probably the least depth in that position, and the whole team would be inside linebacker. And our inside linebacker core is basically Micah Kiser came off an injury, Trayvon Howard, who was I think an undrafted free agent from last year, but he came in and played decent in the preseason, but he didn't have much actual playing time during the regular season. But he's more of a pass coverage guy. Then you do have, I think, what's that dude's name? I forgot his name. He plays so little on the team, man. It's crazy how Corey Littleton and Taylor Rapp held it down at the linebacker position last year, at least in passing downs. But there was this other linebacker. I just can't remember his name. He just doesn't play much except like maybe at the goal line. But our interior linebacking core is basically non-existent right now after Corey Littleton took off. So that leads for me to pick Malik Harrison out of Ohio, who is another really good player. And Ohio has a lot of really decent players, but Malik Harrison will be available there. He's not the wow playmaker, but he's a solid run stopper. He plays decent in coverage. He'll be a huge improvement from what we already have. And then we still have Micah Kiser, who I think will have an actual full season on the team. So I think he'll contribute, but he's not going to be like, I don't see Micah Kiser being Corey Littleton. I see Micah Kiser being solid, but to me, Corey Littleton was like a superstar, man. That guy he made plays in the air, in the run game. He was a decent tackler. So that's big shoes to fill. But I think Malik Harrison at that spot right there, a position in need, will be great. But for some reason, I keep seeing mock drafts keep taking tackles, left tackle, right tackle, tackle. And I'm thinking, like, we have like 6 tackles on the team. We've drafted like 4 in the last 2 seasons. So I don't know why we keep going tackle. So I'm going to positions of need. If you guys have a tackle prospect that you really, really like, and I haven't put it on here, trust me, this is just needs. We don't need a tackle. It would be nice to have a start tackle, but we don't need one. Now, we're going to go and pick 84. And pick 84, so we have, let's say we picked up Jonah Jackson. As a center right now center, we have Austin Blythe. Then you have Austin Corbett and David Edwards. David Edwards is a tackle. He's not a guard. So that's why I'm going to go Damian Lewis, right guard out of LSU. The Tigers, who ended up winning the championship in college football, they had a pretty solid running game. They gave Joe Burrow pretty good pass protection. and Joe Burrow was a stud last year in his own behalf. But Damian Lewis was one of the best right guards in my opinion. He'll probably drop because of his lack of speed. To me, he's a better Jamon Brown. The 2017 Rams right guard, remember the good offensive line we had? Well, we still had Jamon Brown, who has not allowed a sack in like about 1,000 snaps. So he's a decent right guard, and I know Damian Lewis would be better than Jamon Brown just simply by looking at him. The only weakness I've ever saw from Damian Lewis was getting overpowered by Derek Brown, who's going to be like a top 10 pick in the draft this year. So it's not a knock on him. He's just simply a really solid right guard. And at that point, I would be very, very happy if the Rams would be like, okay, we got 2 right guards. We still have Austin Blythe for center. We have competition at the tackle position, especially the right tackle position. And we know that Andrew Whitworth's going to hold it down at the left tackle position. We're good, right? So Damian Lewis fills that need, the immediate need of the guard position. Very important. You can't simply just put a right tackle or any center at a right guard position and think it's going to work. So to me, put in the guy, you know it's going to come in, play great, right guard, Damian Lewis, LSU. That should say enough. That should just be enough right there. LSU, right guard, that's it. Next after that is Tyler Biadasz. At that point, I was thinking best player available and of need. And center position is going to be a need if Austin Blythe does not stay on the team for much longer. And if the Rams want to save money, they'll let Austin Blythe walk after a year. They'll basically train Tyler Biadasz, teach him, train him up, coach him up, and then next year we'll have a really good stud center. So you'll basically fix the interior draft this year. The most needed position for the Rams was interior lineman, and our offensive line was complete trash. So because of the inside linemen were just getting overpowered and really didn't allow for any time for Goff to throw. So that could be a slight reach for me, just because I know that the Rams already have Austin Blythe for this year, but they only have him for one more season unless they decide to pay him more money, which looks to be a possibility because I know that the Rams are really high on Austin Blythe. They really like him. He's a solid interior lineman. He doesn't get thrown around like a rag doll like other players did this year. So that's why I like Tyler Biadasz, just simply because it makes sense. He's the best player available at the time of the mock draft. And it was a huge position of need for the Rams. And you would basically have a solid offensive line with those 3 interior linemen for the next 4 years, 4 to 5 seasons. You won't even have to touch that interior line, hopefully. Simply because I think those guys will be phenomenal. I'm really high on those 3 players specifically for the interior linemen. And Tyler Biadasz is at this point at 101, 104, he would have dropped a lot. Early mock drafts, people were looking at him as a mid to late first-round pick at the center position. Now he's looking to be like a third-rounder. So it all depends on how you value some of these positions, but the Rams should value that one very highly, and it would fix that offensive line issue really, really fast. Next pick, 126, Anthony Jennings, edge out of Alabama. That guy's a beast on the outside. He's a good run stopper. He's got a high motor. He's a good pass rusher on the edge. We do have, at the moment, Okoronkwo. Who else? Ebukam. I forgot the dude's first name. Polite, who was out of Florida State a year ago, but got cut by like the Seattle Seahawks and the Jets for whatever reason. I heard that he's got hustle issues. Like he doesn't hustle in practice, and he doesn't listen, he doesn't learn. So I guess they let him go. He was a third-round pick. He's a good pass rusher. He's got good pass rushing abilities, but I think it's more of his behavior / work ethic. So Polite is going to be one of those guys that the Rams will hopefully train up in preseason, and we'll see a lot more from him during the year. Hopefully he gets his act together during the offseason. But this is I think Okoronkwo will shine. I think he'll be fine. I still think that Ebukam will play decent. But I feel like if we were to put Anthony Jennings on the edge in passing downs, and then put Ebukam in runs, trying to stop the run in early downs, then I think it'll be a big bonus for the Rams to simply just do that. And either way, I think Anthony can stop the run and rush the passer. He did great in the Senior Bowl. He did great playing against the actually one of the best offensive lines in college football, LSU. He actually whooped on the LSU offensive line. Alabama couldn't really get after Burrow that much, and then Anthony was able to get after Burrow. So that alone doesn't tell you that this guy is a solid mid-round Cooper Kupp type of player, you know what I'm saying? Then I don't know what else to tell you, because it's a position in need, but you don't have to really go and tackle it right away. You still have potential on the outside. A lot of us are high on Okoronkwo, especially me. Ebukam is a different story. He's got his good days, and then he's got his off days. He's done a lot in short spurts, I'm going to say that. But after those two players, you really don't know what you have at the edge rushing position. So if you go and get Anthony Jennings, it solidifies your edge rushing position, and it makes it a position of strength. Because right now, edge rushers is a weakness. Interior linebacker, inside linebacker is the depth is terrible, and then you have a solid defensive line, but you need to fix up the linebacker position and the edge rusher position, and that's how I plan to do so with Anthony Jennings. Now, at the running back position, this guy is one of the fastest running backs in college football. I think he would be a really good rotational running back. I still feel like Darrell Henderson is going to be our starter, and Malcolm Brown will come in on, I think, like goal line, short, third down conversions, you know what I mean? Like short and like 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and you want to run the rock. That'll be more of a Malcolm Brown move because he's able to power his way in. But then you need another guy to rotate with Darrell Henderson with speed that would scare defenses, and J.J. Taylor, running back out of Arizona, would be that guy. He's undersized. I think he's like 5'7", 5'8", like 199 pounds. Basically like basically like Tavon Austin at the running back position. That's who I would kind of compare this guy to. But this guy's going to be a stud in the McVay offense, but it's not going to cost us too much. It's not going to cost us too much. Pick 199. It's a solid rotational player. You still have John Kelly, but then what if John Kelly doesn't work out? So at least you have a rotational guy that you just drafted that you'll try out. Maybe you can take kick return duties, punt return duties for now, playing special teams, and then put him in every once in a while. Maybe we're ahead at certain games. You want to give this guy a chance to run the rock, and you put him in. So that's why I put J.J. Taylor very late in the draft. He'll be a solid running back that you can rotate, and you won't really have to go and sign someone and spend money. You can just draft one. And then last but not least, I got Lavert Hill. For me, he's one of the best slot prospects as a slot corner. I know he played outside, just like the year before, our guy from David Long Jr. from Michigan, when we drafted him. He was also one of the best man-to-man corners. So from what I heard right now, David Long Jr. will be playing at the slot position. Troy Hill will be outside, and Jalen Ramsey will be outside. But Lavert Hill played outside in Michigan, but he's linked to being better as a slot corner. And he's got fire, man. If you haven't seen this guy's college tape, it's going to surprise you how good he is and how low teams have him at. I prefer this guy over any slot corner in the draft. I would say I would rank this guy, even though he's going late, like 6th round, late 5th round, I would still put this guy in the mid 4th round, just simply because of how good he is. He's got a fire, he's got an engine, and I'm starting to like a lot more of these Michigan players, man. They got really good players on that team, and I hope Michigan, Ohio, and LSU is kind of like the team I'm kind of piggybacking on, if you haven't noticed. And then we have Wisconsin, Alabama, And then the only guy out of there is like Arizona. That's kind of like out of nowhere. But Lavert Hill, slot corner. Maybe you just have him as a depth player for now. Put him in special teams. He also does punt return, kick return from Michigan. So if you need a special teams guy, you can put him in there. But this guy at the slot position is a work of art, and I enjoy watching him. And dude, I've been like watching tape on really boring. You would say like, why aren't you watching tape on running backs and watching tape on wide receivers and all this other stuff? Dude, this guy makes the slot position look fun. Like, I would say the same thing about these offensive linemen. They just push guys around, but this slot corner, Lavert Hill out of Michigan, is a baller, and to me, this will fill in a bunch of needs. If you look at the Rams roster, quarterback is not a position in need right now. Tackle is not a position in need. Wide receiver, you could say that's a position in need, and that would be a pretty good criticism for this mock draft. Why didn't I pick a wide receiver? Mainly because I'm going for the more position in needs. Like, I still think corner is a position in need because you don't know what you'll have with Troy Hill. Like one game he'll be good, one game he won't be good. And then Davion Jr. is also a corner that we picked up. But then after that, we have Darius Williams, who's an undrafted free agent, who's not been the best. I've seen him get burnt countless times. A lot of people are high on him. But then after that, I don't know who our other corners are. We have like 4 corners that I can remember. So then why not get Lavert Hill? Stud. Outside, he's decent. Interiorly, if you put him in the slot, he's a stud. And that's why I have Lavert Hill on this. Tight end is not a position need. So then once you go through that, you go to the other side. Safety is not a position need. I would say interior defensive line at this moment is not a position in need. You have good interior defensive linemen after free agency. Edge rusher, depending on what happens with Michael Floyd, he's going to either, the Rams haven't technically signed him. They've come to an agreement, but they haven't been signed yet. There's no signature yet. The same thing with A'Shawn Robinson, so that might be a question mark. But the edge rushing position is a position in need right now, and especially the linebacker position is a position in need. So I had to tackle 3 of those really, really hard, and then the other ones are just for depth reasons. I will make another mock draft, and I will talk about reasons why. This is my final mock draft need video. I'm gonna go in and tackle some of the best available, and I'm gonna do 3 different mock drafts where I go for best available. Sometimes you'll have J.K. Dobbins available at 52. Other times you might have Andre Swift, stuff like that happens. A.J. Terrell, corner out of Clemson. So that will be for another video. But for right now, this is my Rams need mock draft. Let me know what you think. Leave a like, leave a share, leave a comment. And until next time, you guys, go Rams.